For nearly 3 decades, Tamil Tiger fighters waged a war of terror in Sri Lanka, once controlling the northern and eastern regions. In May this year, the Sri Lankan military finally crushed the rebels, ending one of Asia's longest-running insurgencies. Today, some 250,000 Tamils displaced by the fighting remain in camps north of the country, not allowed to leave. The government says it wants to weed out the remains of its enemy from their midst before resettling most of them by the end of the year. But critics say the detention is inhumane and urge for more transparency from Colombo on the situation in the camps. I'm Chan Tao Cho. In this special edition of 101 East, we ask, what will it take for post-war Sri Lanka to achieve national reconciliation?
This conflict was perpetrated by a group of very extreme terrorists who wanted to dismember our society to fight for a separate state. This was crushed eventually on the 19th of May.
My biggest fear during the war was getting hit by shells. On the 15th and 16th of May, shelling was so heavy we didn't dare leave our bunkers. The bunker became our home. We even cooked inside. People said the army was shelling. We could hear rounds falling around us. No one knew when we would be hit.
Sri Lanka defeated the Tamil Tigers after a long and bloody conflict. But their victory presented new problems. The need to resettle some 300,000 people confined in IDP camps. Most of them ethnic Tamils who fled the fighting. The government also faces widespread criticism over conditions within the camps, which have become almost off-limits to human rights groups and international media. Here, refugees have no freedom to leave.
The key point with regard to the IDP situation is the fundamental rights of those people and their freedom of movement. People kept in conditions of this nature are surely going to end up feeling very bitter and resentful.
They gave us enough food and clothing, but they didn't allow us to leave the camp. We lived in fear, not knowing what to do or when they will release us. People were worried for their children. There wasn't enough clean water.
There's absolutely no truth about mistreatment or ill-treatment. These are Sri Lankan citizens. These are our people. We don't want to ill-treat them and push them once again towards an extremist force.
The treatment of the internally displaced is a litmus test for peace, reconciliation and national unity. If you want to win the hearts and minds of these people, you have to treat them as citizens of this country.
I was terrified the officers might take us away for interrogation. To my knowledge, the authorities took away 2 Hindu priests who had links to the Tamil Tigers. People in the camp tipped off the authorities, who came to nab them.
To his relief, Sambanda Iyer and his family were among the lucky ones that officials cleared for release. A Hindu priest, he spent 3 months in Manic Farm after the fighting ended. It's the biggest IDP camp in the northern district, Vavunia. At the peak of its congestion, Manic Farm alone held